To launch a business means successfully solving problems. Solving problems means listening. Richard Branson. On today's episode, we're speaking to a business owner who saw a problem during COVID and jumped to solve it over a weekend. Welcome to the Stitched for Success podcast, where we are teaching business and life lessons that will help you launch, grow, or scale your creative business. I am Monica Allen, and I'm a wife, mom, daughter, entrepreneur, author, friend, lifelong learner, and host of this podcast. For over 8 years, I was stuck in corporate and dreamt of escaping. Creating a side hustle with just $700 and having taken the leap over 15 years ago, we have since grown multiple six-figure and seven-figure brands. Being an entrepreneur for over 18 years has afforded me many successes and a few failures. I want to share those with you so you can grow and be successful in your business. This episode is brought to you by Zeus's Closet. Do you wear clothes with your company's logo on them? Do you give your clients or customers promotional products to help them remember you and your team? Here at Zeus's Closet, we're like a tattoo shop for your clothes and more. We help many companies provide their entire team with branded apparel for themselves and promotional products to leave with clients and customers. Wearing branded apparel helps colleagues feel like part of a team and makes your company look more professional. Visit Zeus'sCloset.com today for your branded apparel needs. In this episode, I'm speaking with Larissa Maloney, founder and CEO of the fastest growing on-demand fitness and wellness platform for kids, Active Kids 2.0. She is a former professional beach volleyball player, actress, and producer. She is also a wife and mom of 3. Larissa's business was born out of the pandemic last year and has since revolutionized kids and families' virtual fitness. Take a listen to my interview with Larissa. Larissa, it is so great to have you here with me today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Monica.
We'll start with a few questions and we'll just dive right in. How long have you been in business?
Sure. Wow, that is a loaded question because I feel like this pandemic has been like 5 years going, but literally I've been in business with Active Kids for a little over a year now.
Okay. What was the catalyst for you starting Active Kids 2.0?
Yes, that story is a long story, but it's a good one. Okay, so let's go back. I have a huge athletic background. So I come from a very athletic family. I played college volleyball and at a school down in South Florida called Lynn University. And then I went on to play professional beach volleyball on the tour for a few years before I started my family. I stayed home with my little ones for a little while. And then I wanted to jump back into the career world, you know what I mean? And I've been mentoring kids, coaching volleyball for a long time. So I said, how about I jump into education and teach and coach at the same time. So I decided to get a job at a local school, and that was a personal fitness instructor position and coaching volleyball. So that's what I did. And then all of a sudden, of course, the pandemic hit. So once the pandemic hit, we literally had a meeting with the principal saying that we might be going virtual. We don't know what's going to go, we don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic, but just to, put it on your radar, we might be going virtual. Literally that night, she sent an email saying, okay, this is it. We're going virtual full time, figure it out. So teachers across America, not even just across America, all around the world, were really at a loss because how all of a sudden is anyone expected to turn around a couple-day turnaround to have a whole virtual curriculum for their kiddos? So I had to really jump on the ball, get my creative wheels cranking and figure it out. How am I going to do personal fitness exercise classes virtually? So what I thought was, since my husband, we have a little home gym in my garage. My husband, he built it for us. So I said, let me go live on YouTube. And I'm not there with them, but if I go live on YouTube, maybe they would feel like I'm still with them and I'm still doing it with them because my classes are super structured and they're learning, we're having fun. it's a really connected environment that I've made for my students. So that's what I did. I said, okay, we're just going to hit record. We're going to go live. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, we'll try something different. So another teacher, a friend of mine said, what are you doing? And I told her what I was doing. She said, can my kids hop on? Because I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I said, yeah, absolutely. So Monday morning hit, I said, okay, let me press play. I pressed play. And literally out of nowhere, I had 7,000 kids on the live stream on my first day with me doing this workout. And I said, this is insane. So I literally did it Monday through Friday, every day of the week at the same time, 9 a.m. And my community just built really overnight. And then I did that for 3.5 months. And yeah, it just exploded. So throughout the videos, I brought my kiddos in. It was fun environment. I got all of these messages on, Instagram and email and Facebook saying, can you shout me out in your videos? Can you shout my school out? Can you, all of this stuff. And we really made it a community. And it was at such a time when the world was just we just didn't know what was going to happen. Everybody was so, depressed and anxious because we were just in the unknown. And the messages that I got was, these just little workouts, this 30 minutes out of my day has really uplifted my spirits. And it's not just me doing it at home. It's my brother, it's my sister, it's my grandma, grandpa, my parents are doing it with me. So I say you, me, but really created this whole environment of healthy living and doing this together and making this a tradition in the household. And that's something that really, really came out of just me, hopping on, YouTube in my home gym and creating this. I don't know. I mean, it really was something that was, people call it, revolutionary, just because this was so unknown and different. And
it's very organic. Seems very organic,
Absolutely. And then that's where it just went crazy from there.
What age group were your students initially?
Initially, my students were 9th through 12th grade. So that's that 14 through 18 age range.
So how did your program spread so fast that when you first logged on, you had 7,000 students?
I'm not really sure. And that's the funny thing is, I literally told one teacher that's just a friend of mine that was locally. And then I put the message on a couple of PE forums on Facebook, like, PE groups.
Yeah.
I just, ran a quick message and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. If anybody wants to join, go ahead and join because it's on YouTube and it's free. And that's how it spread like wildfire.
That's amazing. And so now how did you commandeer that into your now business, Active Kids 2.0?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, I did it for 3.5 months and I sent out, in my video, I said, you guys, let me know because now we're in summer, it's the beginning of summer. I could use a break, of course, but if this is something that, you guys need, if this is something that you want to continue to do in the summer, let me know. And it was literally hundreds of messages saying, no, coach, you have to keep going. Like, this is the glue that has kept us together through this pandemic. You have to keep going. And I said, okay, so there's a need here. How do I make this bigger than what it is? Because for me, I was just doing the cardio and strength classes. And then on Wednesdays, I would bring my little one in. He was 5 at the time. And we would do just fun 5-year-old cardio classes and put some dancing in it too. And so how can I make this bigger than what it is? And I said, you know what? What do kids like? Kids like classes like karate. They like yoga. They like boxing. They like dance. They like, cheer, all of that stuff. And then I thought, how can I bring that in? So what I did was I went out and I hired coaches to coach those specific classes. And now Active Kids 2.0, we offer, I believe, 14 different classes.
Wow.
Yeah, now.
What's the monetizing model? Is it people subscribe? People pay a fee per class? How did you monetize it?
Absolutely. So For my families, they can either choose to sign up monthly or annually. And then I partner with schools and preschools as well, and they sign up yearly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love how it grew so organically, and the fact that you built this community that was really needed. My kids could have used it. I mean, they had their PE program, but it was more of, when the pandemic hit, it was more of the PE teacher just said, kind of do the following. It definitely changed the next year when they saw that they weren't going back. Then there were more, virtual, literally the teachers on the screen. But the first few months, the fact that you all adapted so quickly was fantastic. Or I should say you really,
Yeah.
putting those creative juices, getting them flowing. So it's interesting because on my list of questions for you, I had, how did the pandemic impact your business? But the pandemic is what catapulted your business into existence, which is amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, I've owned businesses before, and this one was just totally accidental. And you could say accidental, but it was really meant to be. Even if, my business stopped today, the amount of kids and parents that, I've impacted, it's all worth it. And and it's just the messages that I get that have made it all worth it. And has the business been easy, to cultivate and to, monetize and to make it the best for, the kids and the parents? No, it's been hard because it's been just me. And, it's at the stage now where, I do have other people on my team, but in the beginning stages, it was hard, but I did it because there was such a need there and the kiddos needed me. So.
Yeah. And out of that, not only, it was like the need was there and your passion for feeling that need was there. The passion of being fit. And you have to think, out of those initial 7,000, and then you added on more, the impact that you've had on those kids for their lifetime. The fact that, truth be told, kids who see their parents being fit will often take on that same lifestyle. And so
absolutely,
that is going to be wonderful for our generations to come, with that mindset of fitness being at the forefront. First thing in the morning at 9 a.m., that's what they're getting their day started with, which is a beautiful thing. So you mentioned challenges and it being tough. And I know you mentioned one of those things was just the fact that it was you. What other challenges or obstacles did you face in the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. And, there were so many challenges, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, really. I just knew that I needed to make it happen because kids were being affected by the pandemic. And I say it was real, but it still is real, mentally and physically. So I had to do this, whether it was hard or not. But some of the challenges that I went through, the website, for one. I'm not a web developer. I've done like little quick sites before, but to make a video site is hard. And a membership site, it's hard. So literally the hours on the phone with the Wix, trying to figure out, how I can make this the best experience for the kids, how I could make the website even, work properly and look clean and, look like it's professionally done. And so that's hours upon hours of work. And I was doing that literally night and day on the weekends and trying to, figure it out. So that was one. Another thing was I knew that I wanted to partner with schools. I knew that schools would benefit from my program because literally the teachers coming back on these PE forums, they were like so lost. How do I do this? Like, I don't want the kids to be bored. I don't want it to be, something that they dread. That was the messages that, the teachers were putting on these PE forums. So I knew that they needed it. And how do I get my program to them? And I tried to go through counties and I tried to go through districts, and it was so hard. You would just get, the runaround, talk to this person, no, talk to this person, and then email this person. They don't get back to you and all this craziness. And I was like, there has to be an easier way. And I thought the easiest way would be this, because the district has a whole bunch of schools under them,
Right.
but it wasn't. So I had to pivot again. And I went directly to the teachers. And that was something that worked for me. And the teachers saw the need, and then they brought it to their administration. And that's how I initially got it into schools. So those are a couple of things that were challenging. And listen, there are challenges that come up literally every couple weeks.
Right.
So.
Wow. I mean, but I love the stick-to-itiveness. I mean, you did not give up and you're still doing it. Are you still in a growth mode, or are you kind of at a point where you're like, okay, I have the schools I need, I have the families I need, or how are you continuing to grow or market your company?
Yeah, sure. For my company, it's always growing, and it's always transitioning into something new, which is fun, which has been fun. I haven't felt stuck yet in that regard. Kind of like just what I said of the transition. At first, it was, the free program was everyone. But when I tried to monetize it, at first it was just families coming on board because they needed to get their kids off the couch. They needed to get that dang PlayStation controller out of their hands, get their blood flowing, get off the couch and do something. That was the overwhelming message that I got from families. And then once fall hit, then it transitioned to schools. The schools needed it. They needed it. And then all of a sudden there was this preschool market that came, and all the preschools used it because, my ages for the program is 3 to 18. So there was a huge preschool boom that I got a couple months ago, and they use my program for enrichment classes for their little ones. And then now I've partnered with some big virtual programs. So I just partnered with Virtual Virginia. So all of Virginia students that do virtual classes are doing Active Kids. So it's transitioned really every couple weeks, every month, and branched out to something new.
That's really neat. And it sounds to me like you are okay with the going with the flow. It seems like you're not just like pigeonholing yourself, like this is what I want to be, but you're really about filling the need that your community has. And when I say community, I'm talking about, across the country, but you're really about filling that need.
Yeah,
that is so nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I like control, and I like routine. I like structure, and that's how I am. But with this business, I found that it's just been it just keeps changing, and I have to be okay with it. And that's been the fun of it, enjoying the journey and not really knowing what's next, but keeping, the original foundation where is the kids. You know what I mean? Yeah. So as long as that stays constant, everything else is just like added cherries on top,
Yeah, that's really great. And it's something that is so needed. I know as a parent, I have a hard time getting my kids are pretty fit. My daughter, especially, she works out with me every morning. She's actually become my accountability partner since she started school this fall. But it's hard to get them up out of the electronic devices. And I know for me, living in a big city, I don't just let them go run around outside without me. So yeah, lots of families need you. That is for sure. Now, speaking of kids, you're holding a beautiful 7-week-old in your arms.
Yes.
How has it been? You have 2 kids. See, I know this about you, but you have 2 kids. You started a business last year. That's your 3rd baby. And now you have a 4th baby, like literal baby. How has that been acclimating with a 3rd child with your business?
Absolutely. In the beginning, I say in the beginning, he's only 7 weeks, but the first couple weeks, I was just getting anxious and antsy because like I said before, I love structure. I love routine. And on top of it, it's summer holidays. So my other two kids are running crazy here in the house. I'm trying to heal myself and, raise a newborn. Insane. It was absolutely insane. Like, I wish I could say, oh, it's been blissful and, flowers at every turn. It hasn't. I mean, but, I keep saying that word routine, but I really do. I really thrive, with routine. And probably at week 4, that's when I've felt more like myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, I got to prioritize different things. So now I get to spend, a couple of hours, 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours in the morning on my business. And then, an hour or so, hour or two with, things around the house. And then in the afternoon, I get to spend, time with my kiddos and maybe spend an hour on the business now that the kids are in school. So just, trying to figure out that schedule was hard in the beginning just because the kids were home. But now everything's falling into place. Thank goodness.
Yes, it's nice to have them go back to school.
It is.
Even though you enjoy the summer break, I know for me, I kind of enjoy the lack of routine of like, okay, you have to be to school at this time and you have to, I kind of enjoy that laid back feel of summer, but I also don't get as much accomplished because of the lack of structure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially with active kids, having my busy time being right at probably like that July time where school's about to start. That's when it's busy for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'm having a baby the end of June. So how am I going to do this? But it all worked out. It always does.
It always does. You just have to take it as it comes.
Yep.
As it comes and go with the flow, literally and figuratively, because Absolutely. There's not much we can do about it at the end of the day. So now that you got the business up and going for the fall, you got your baby, the kiddos are in school. What are your goals for like going towards the end of the year when it comes to your business?
Yeah, sure. Things are really just kind of like you said before, they've been growing organically. I do a lot of speaking events as well. So I speak at conferences and summits, and probably my favorite is to speak at schools. And right now, obviously, it's, and I did this before my business, speaking at schools and motivating kids. And right now it's virtual, which is, that works well with me because obviously with the new baby. So that's coming up. I have a lot of virtual events with schools, all across the country. And that's really fun. With active kids, I've just launched a new website with new content in it. So now we've added sports into our content. So we offer volleyball, basketball, and soccer. I also added in nutrition in there as well. And we've just partnered with an SEL program that offers, social emotional learning for the kids as well. So not only are you getting in shape physically, you're getting in shape mentally as well. So that's what's new with us.
So that leads to a couple more questions for me. So how did you incorporate sports? Is it a coach teaching fundamentals on certain sports, or how is that working?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a expert coach. Of course, I do volleyball. I do the volleyball bits. Right. Yeah, they're already recorded. And I have a soccer coach and we have a basketball coach, and they do, exactly what you just said, the fundamentals of the game.
Nice. So if I wanted to sign my son up or daughter up for basketball, they would then get in front of a video. Is it always pre-recorded, or is it is pre-recorded? So they get and they learn kind of, okay, this is how you bounce the ball. This is how you dribble, I guess rather than bounce the ball, this is how you dribble. This is how you shoot, things like that. And then they can take that into their game or play with their friends.
Exactly.
Okay. That is really neat. Okay. I'm going to actually check out your program, because what I am finding for myself right now is I'm having a very difficult time putting pen to paper and signing my kids up for activities, because I'm hesitant about them being inside a building doing an activity that I know they're not going to keep a mask on. Yep. So it would be nice, though, to have something like this for them where they don't lose their skills, but they're not necessarily around a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. So. And I mean, unfortunately, it's going to get worse, with the new strand of COVID, and more parents are thinking like you. And I mean, I'm the same way as well. And I mean, I'm glad my program does exist because, again, we might be in the house for a long period of time. And we don't want our kids to start to feel that way again and to, get connected to those video games and, not get that kid spirit, because that kid spirit is my 5-year-old. Well, he's not 5 anymore. He's 7. But my 5 and 7-year-old have all of the energy in the world. And when they stay in the house, if it's raining all day, oh gosh, it is like the worst. How many movies can we watch? How many board games can we play? They want to get outside and they want to be active. They want to run around, they want to do something that's, going to challenge them and make them better. So I'm hoping that, things don't stop. But if they do, of course, Active Kids is here.
Yeah. And we are glad you are here. I'm so glad. And I'm glad we had an opportunity to connect on this. Thank you so much. I know you have a little one, so I'm not going to keep you too long, but this has been so insightful. And I'm so happy for you and your business, for sure.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And I love the chat.
Well, thank you. And tell us where's the best place for us to find you?
Absolutely. So Active Kids, we are on Instagram at Active Kids 2.0. We are also on Facebook, Active Kids 2.0. If you want to check out our website, it is www.activekids2.com.
Fantastic. And I'll make sure to include that information in the show notes as well. Larissa, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you being a part of the Stitch for Success podcast.
Thanks for having me, Monica.
I really enjoyed talking to Larissa and hearing about how the pandemic brought about her now thriving business. It is wonderful how she is impacting families now all across the country. Please see Larissa's contact information in the show notes and get your family signed up for her program. We at the Stitch for Success podcast are cheering you on, Larissa. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Follow me on Instagram or TikTok at Stitch for Success for more tips and inspiration for running and scaling a successful business. There's also a Facebook group where you can interact with other Stitch for Success podcast listeners. I know very well that entrepreneurship can be lonely, so now you can join the Facebook group and have some additional support from other entrepreneurs. Also, please take a moment to leave a review and share the podcast. Take care and have a great one.